Now, she's only 36 years old, a Somali woman, a Muslim, and a former refugee. But all of that would not deter Ilhan Omar as voters backed a bid to the U.S. Congress in the just concluded midterm elections, helping her to make history. The Democrat candidate was resoundingly elected with over 78% of the votes in Minnesota's 5th congressional district, joining the surge of new candidates who helped the Democrats take back the House on Tuesday.
That's right, Jerry. She was elected in the state of Minnesota, where the largest Somali community in the United States is located. Ilhan Omar thus obtained this achievement by becoming one of the first Muslim women elected to the U.S. Congress, and in her program, she defends universal health coverage and the relaxation of immigration laws.
U.S. and international affairs analyst Calvin Dock is with us now. Calvin, what a win this has been for Democrats, but more importantly, a historic win for women and for immigrants. But can we indeed say that Ilhan Omar's victory is a victory for all immigrants in the U.S., and how well do you think she will fare in Congress? Calvin.
Yes, Congresswoman-elect Omar's victory is a victory for every American, including immigrants, women, and minorities. I was particularly happy when I saw the news because that was one of the races that I was following. It's important because her presence in Congress, that visibility, will remind all Americans that we are so incredibly diverse. And so our decision makers should reflect that diversity, whether you're a white man in a suit or a woman of color who wears a hijab. So that's a very powerful message. Now, when it comes to policies, the new Congresswoman's first priority will be to serve the constituents of her district and their needs, which includes immigrants and non-immigrants. But I also think beyond that, her perspective is a needed one in Congress on all issues, from economic development to social justice, and she will have particularly interesting insights when it comes to women's equality, civil rights, protecting religious freedom, immigration reform, and our relationship with the world. And speaking of relationship with the world, it is such a contrast, her election, to the rhetoric, unfortunately, of the Trump administration. From the derogatory comments about African countries to the travel ban that focused on Muslim-majority countries, including Somalia. Very powerful contrast there, and I hope that that will at least help us build back some of the goodwill that we've kind of lost over the last 18 months to 2 years.
And you can be sure that you're not alone with such hope. Calvin, Donald Trump said Republicans declared the midterm election. Donald Trump declared the midterm election results as victory for the Republicans, despite Democrats taking over the House. His party has managed to secure their majority or their stronghold in the Senate. But what do you make of the results of the midterm elections?
Regardless of the outcome from Tuesday, you can be sure that President Trump was going to say this was a win for him and, by extension, the Republican Party. Now, overall, the world shouldn't expect to see significant new policies over the next 2 years for two very important reasons. One is there's actually very little agreement on major policy issues like health care and taxes between President Trump and the Republicans with the Democrats. So that's going to be difficult because there's a lot that they don't agree on. The second reason is the moment that the midterm elections ended, the 2020 presidential race began. So neither party is going to want to give the other side a victory that can be used against them during the campaign. Now, I am a little optimistic because this has been a great midterm election week here in the United States. So I do think that there are two areas where President Trump and the Republicans could actually work with the Democrats. The first one is on immigration. Both sides want to implement immigration reform that's fair, orderly, and addresses the situation of undocumented immigrants currently in the United States. But if President Trump continues the xenophobic and often racist rhetoric painting all immigrants as criminals, disease-ridden invaders, there's no way Democrats are going to be able to support that. Now, the second issue is foreign policy and foreign trade. because there are major disagreements between the Democrats and Republicans on those issues, but not like domestic issues. There's room to work.